I was born Randy Raymond McStein on June 10th, 1988, and my father named me after Randy Rhoads. By the age of 3, I was in love with music, and specifically the guitar. I'd sit there and watch videos of different bands and guitar players and run around the house with rakes and brooms, strumming them and pretending like they were guitars. My parents bought me a guitar for my 5th birthday, and I started taking lessons about 9 months later. I think I was about 10 when my teacher asked me if I would come out and play a few bluesier songs with his band. Shortly after that, I started to really make a name for myself around town, playing in cover bands with guys that were in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Writing and recording my own music was the next step at that point, and I wasn't a singer yet, so I was writing instrumental music. By the time I started singing, I was playing at the Bitter End in New York City quite regularly and really building up a crowd down there.
All right, Bitter End, please give a warm welcome to Randy McStein.
At 15 or 16, I thought that this was what would get me to the big leagues, the big record contract. A few opportunities came by that could have potentially led to something bigger, but nothing happened, and I can truly say that I'm glad nothing happened. I just wanted to focus on the music, but everybody else seemed to be more concerned with the material things that come with being an artist in the business. So at that point, I just kind of said to myself that I would have to do things that were artistically pleasing to myself before anybody else. The band broke up shortly after my 18th birthday. And for a couple of years, I was really lost. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was writing stuff here and there, but none of it was really sticking. I searched for different projects to fall into, playing with different younger guys, and none of it seemed natural to me. I moved away for a year and just didn't get anything off the ground. I eventually came home and just had to admit defeat. When I came home, I had kind of a flood of creativity. I started recording the songs in my apartment, and I was just goofing around on the drums, bass, keyboards, and of course guitar and vocals. I had no real plan or agenda. I was really just having fun recording everything. I wasn't even sure if it was something that I was going to release or not. It was really just for me at that point. As time went on, I was feeling stronger and stronger about the way things were turning out with the songs, and I thought to myself that I had to get a better drummer to really do the songs justice. I went over to my CD collection and started flipping through, trying to think of the right guy, and Nick DiVirgilio was the first one to pop into my head. I sent him an email through his website, and he got back to me very quickly. And it didn't take too long before we were working together. The first track he played on was a song called All We Have. After hearing what he did, I realized that he was what the project was really missing. So he ended up playing on 6 tracks total and also mixed the whole album. After Nick, a few more people got involved on the record, including Doug Pinnick of King's X. By the end of it, I realized that A, collaboration was truly the way to go, and B, Lo-Fi Resistance was now turning into something that I wanted to focus my career on. Heading into the new decade, I really felt like this album was a rebirth for me, so much that I didn't want to attach my name to it. I felt more comfortable coming up with a band name. I don't know why naming a band is so freaking hard, but it truly is. And after many failed attempts, I came up with Lo-Fi Resistance and just felt like it fit. At the beginning of 2011, I started writing again, and I thought I was writing for a 4 or 5 song EP, something that would bridge the gap between A Deep Breath and an eventual second full-length album, probably not until later in 2012. Writing and recording of the demos went along, I realized that this is really where I wanted to take the next album, and Chalk Lines was born. Much like A Deep Breath, I started to cast a dream team in my head of people that I would love to work with. The first person that I got a hold of was Gavin Harrison of Porcupine Tree. Gavin has gone from playing on one song to 3 songs total, and it's really too early to tell how much of the album he's going to end up on. Gavin put me in touch with John Giblin, who's playing bass on the title track, and at this point my head is just swimming with ideas and different people that I would love to work with on Chalk Lines. I think this album is quite different and much more cohesive, in my opinion, than A Deep Breath. But at the same time, the elements are definitely there from the first album. My goal for Lo-Fi Resistance is for it to be in constant change. I want it to be something where every time I release a new album, people are guessing what I'm going to do next. So many of my favorite artists were just always in constant change from one album to the next. It was just, you could tell that they were really experimenting and trying to find new things to try and conquer, and that really appeals to me. I'm just not into these bands that just write the same thing over and over again because it's a sure meal ticket. It's 2011, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Nobody else probably is either. But I think there has to be an effort to do something different and not just join the rest of the parade. I chose Kickstarter because I think it's a fun and unique way for the fan and artist to come together and collaborate. I've talked to people who think that these kind of things are an exercise in begging, and I really just don't agree. If someone is able to look at this and gain enough interest to the point where they want to pitch in, I think that's a beautiful thing. In the big picture, $5,000 is a very small goal. Truthfully, a record like this is going to cost a lot more to get off the ground. Live shows, teaching guitar lessons, and mowing lawns mostly made up the funding for A Deep Breath. I'm thankful for this opportunity to try to reach as many people as I can, and I'm really thankful for the people who are watching this and might end up contributing when this is all over with. It's an honor that somebody might care about what I have to say or about the music that I'm making to the point where they feel the need to contribute. I can't promise you that you're going to love Chalk Lines, or even like it for that matter. It certainly isn't going to change the world as far as I can tell, but I promise you that it is truly a sincere piece of me.
What is its name?
It's called Chalk Lines.
Oh,
I
I
told
said
you that.
You did. I know what I was going to ask.